Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story about a casino security guard who faced a truly unforgettable encounter with a not-so-friendly guest. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you enjoy the content, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a juicy story. Karen thinks I should do what she wants even though I'm not at work. This happened a few years ago while I was working at a casino as a security guard / first responder. Basically, I did the normal casino security stuff until some medical emergency happened, such as someone falling down, up to doing CPR twice. Anyhow, part of the job is to assist guests with what they needed help with. There was this one very unpleasant woman who everyone hated dealing with. She was rude, demanding, and would belittle anyone, even if it was the person helping her. One day, my day off, I might add, I was at a local restaurant. I'm actually typing this at said restaurant. Karen just happened to be there with her friends. All of a sudden, I hear, "Excuse me," and then, "Excuse me, security." I look up, Karen's looking at me dead in the eye, waving a takeout bag around. "Carry this out to my car," she says. I say, "I'm sorry, but I'm not at work." She replies, "You need to carry this out to my car now." Getting irritated, I reply, "This is not the casino, and I am not on duty. I am not carrying your bag." Karen becomes militant and begins making a scene in this restaurant, saying how she's going to tell my manager how rude I'm being. I tell her it would do no good because we are not in the casino. And I'll never forget what she said next. She said, "When I tell them, I'll say it was." She then spouted how she'll tell them how cruel I was to a helpless old woman who just needed a little help. I told her to take her best shot and I wasn't afraid of her. She then leaves in a huff. The next day at work, I told not only my boss, but his boss what had happened. They were both like, "WTF?" They told me just to stay away from her, and if she called for help, they would just get someone else to help her. But she never made good on her threat, and she just went on being her nasty old self until I left that job about a year later. The end. So she was going to lie about what happened in a place with more security cameras than the Pentagon? Sounds like that'll work out for her. And our second story. I don't work here, as of right now. A few years ago, I worked for a wonderful Midwest grocery store chain. Hint, we wore blue. I just graduated college and put my 2 weeks in because I landed my first big boy job with my shiny new degree. I was a front-end supervisor, less glorious than it sounds, and also had to run the money services counter. There we sold lottery tickets, handled returns, and other things. This story happened, I crap you not, on my last day. My shift ended that night at 9 p.m. It was about 8:50 p.m. at the time this took place. Piece of info, we could leave about 7 minutes early because the time clock rounded up to the nearest 15 minutes, so if you clocked out at 8:53, it would round it to 9 o'clock. Cast. MAGM, middle-aged grumpy man, our main star. Me. So, like I said, it's about 8:50. I literally have 3 minutes until I'm gone forever. The service desk closes at 9 o'clock. Since I was the only person with access to it working that night, I'd already closed it and was about to head out when MAGM came in and we had this exchange. MAGM. I need a lottery ticket. Me. Sorry, sir, the service desk is closed. MAGM. It's not 9 p.m. yet. Me. Again, I'm sorry, we didn't have a line, so we went ahead and closed it to assist customers at the checkout lanes. MAGM. You either get me a lottery ticket or I'm not buying these groceries and you can put them away. This man had like $400 worth of crap in his cart. Me, at this point, I'm done and I don't care anymore. Sir, actually, I don't work here. MAGM, confused. Yes, you do. I see you all the time. Now get me a effing ticket. Me. Today's the final day of my 2 weeks notice and my shift is over right now, 8:53. So no, I don't work here. So tonight, you don't get crap and I'm not putting crap away. Have a horrible night. At this point, the look on his face was priceless as I simply walked to the time clock, punched out, and went home. And our next story. Try to get me fired? Enjoy the end of your law career. I worked in a pizza shop back when I was in college. I worked with Sarah, a vindictive lady who would stir up a lot of drama. Sarah would pick a target and then bully them into quitting. Where I'm at, college students can receive welfare if their parents earn less than a certain threshold. I was ineligible for student support due to my parents' income, even though they didn't support me, and I desperately needed this job. Matt, a new hire, quit after Sarah's harassment. Sarah's attention then turned to me. Sarah would approach my supervisor and spout bullcrap like, "Hey, Mr. Supervisor, I asked John where the snake is, and he says the snake is cutting pizzas," while the supervisor was actually cutting pizzas. She would shout at me with extreme hostility. She wouldn't warn me if pans were hot, a major sin in kitchen jobs. She conspired with her friends to accuse me of slacking off, even though they'd never complained about me until Matt quit. This took a toll on me. My hours were cut, impacting both my financial and mental well-being. I even considered dropping out of college because I was struggling to afford rent. Sarah was illegally claiming student welfare despite being employed by the pizza shop. You can only claim the welfare if you're unemployed. Sarah, in the first year of her law degree, was also aspiring to become a lawyer. The thing about being a lawyer is that you need to be admitted to the bar to begin practicing. The law industry is very strict. Even proven allegations of plagiarism in college would make one permanently ineligible to become a lawyer. Frankly, she was stupid for defrauding the government. There's an anonymous complaints line for welfare fraud. Most of the time, the welfare department never follows up. Occasionally, however, they would send officials to investigate. This was one of those few times they followed up. I sent an anonymous tip stating the business, her schedule, her name, and her number. I was on shift when some officials from the welfare department came in, informing us that multiple complaints were made against Sarah. I think my boss could have just told them to scram since they probably didn't have a warrant, but instead of doing that, he licked their shoes, showing them all of the CCTV footage. The officials then questioned Sarah. She panicked, confessing to everything. I felt no sympathy for her. As a law student, she should have known to remain silent. Long story short, Sarah received a suspended sentence, which would most certainly disqualify her from becoming a lawyer. She dropped out of college while I continued to work at the pizza shop and eventually graduated with an associate's. I have an all right job now. She was messing with people's livelihoods, doing something she knew was illegal while studying law and receiving welfare that should have gone to others. I have no sympathy for her. And our last story. Entitled Army Wife versus Major General. My friend, who I'll call Lucy, lives in a town with a pretty good-sized army base. To make some money between semesters of college, Lucy took a summer job as a waitress at a local restaurant that's popular with the officers and their families. Lucy is liked as a waitress to the point that patrons will ask to be seated in her section. But you're not here for that story, are you? You're here for the entitled people. And oh boy, did Karen not disappoint. It was a Friday evening, so it was packed. There's at least an hour wait, the kitchen zipping, and Lucy and her coworkers are on their toes. Fortunately, it's mostly regulars, so they're patient and even leaving nice tips and paying compliments to the waitstaff/owner. Enter Karen. Karen, who Lucy had never seen before, was seated in Lucy's section and begins the usual Karen tirades, complaining about the wait, sending her pasta dish back a total of 3 times because it wasn't cooked just right, husband's rank, name-dropping, yada yada yada. Lucy, easily the most patient and kind-hearted person I've ever met, but even she was getting frustrated. Then the bombshell dropped. Like most places in this town, the restaurant offers a military discount. However, thanks to this being abused in the past, people wanting the military discount must show their military ID in order to qualify. There's signs posted on the doors and in the menu stating this. Most patrons are understanding of this. But as you can guess, Karen is not one of those people. It's time for the check, and Karen asks for the military discount. Lucy, polite as ever, asks for Karen's military ID. Karen, what did you say? Lucy, can you please present your military ID for the discount? Karen, don't you know who I am? Lucy, I'm sorry, ma'am, but company rules state that your ID must be shown to get the discount. Karen, are you calling me a liar? Lucy, no, ma'am, but in order to qualify for the discount, you must show your military ID. Karen, my husband is Kyle, married to a B word. He's a second lieutenant at the Army base, and he knows people. Lucy is trying to keep her cool, but she told me that she wanted to cry. Karen, I know people. I can make sure you never get a job in this town again. You're so stupid. You're probably some college dropout who will never amount to nothing. By this point, everyone is silent, and even the owner is coming over. An older woman from another section, who Lucy has never seen before either, gets up and comes over. The woman, who I'll call Belle, taps Karen on the shoulder. Karen stops her tirade, whips around, her face turning 50 shades of red and purple, stares Belle down. Karen, what do you want? Belle, calm. You're going to apologize to this young lady, pay in full, and leave a generous tip. Karen, who the frick are you? Belle, someone who can make things very difficult for your husband. Karen, I don't have to stand for this. Grabs her purse. I'll tell so many people just how much this place sucks that nobody will want to come here anymore. Karen storms off, pushing the owner hard enough for him to almost fall to the ground, and left. According to Lucy, it was so silent that you can hear a pin drop for at least a minute. Belle then turns to Lucy. Belle, are you okay? Lucy, still shaken. Thank you. I'm okay. Belle, I'd like to apologize on behalf of the base. That was completely uncalled for. Turns to owner. I'd also like to compensate for the meal and tip as an apology. Owner, there's no need, ma'am. Belle, I insist. Owner, thank you, ma'am. Belle returned to her seat and the night continued. Belle and her husband came by to check on Lucy before leaving and promised to come back for dinner the next Friday. It wasn't until Monday afternoon, when Kyle went to the restaurant to apologize, that Lucy learned what went down. It turned out that Belle was the Major General who had just been posted to the base. That morning, Belle had him summoned to her office for a little chat. Because it happened off base, he was mortified and offered to reimburse Belle for the check/tip. He didn't get into trouble. However, he was warned that Karen's behavior could make things difficult for his career. He made sure Karen, a verbal, got torn up one side and down the other on the phone when he was done. In this town, gossip spreads faster than the flu. Karen never darkened the door of that restaurant again, but the rest of the town made sure Karen knew she wasn't welcome. Belle kept her word and showed up every Friday evening for dinner with her husband. According to Lucy, she was a classy lady, and even if she didn't sit in Lucy's section, she'd make sure to tell Lucy hello and leave her a nice tip. I have no idea why people think it's okay to play rank, and technically not even their own, but their spouses, and get away with it. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.